Yeah, of course I came back for you. Well, I appreciate you for repping Caitlin Clark, who's the absolute.
So, it's amazing how different somebody like Cynthia Cooper is to Sheryl Swoopes. They played together, but the difference in the hateration, the pettiness, the jealousy that comes from one former player versus the other former player is stark and rattling.
Cynthia Cooper just gave Caitlin Clark her flowers, a whole bouquet with sparkles, and did it with more grace than a ballerina on a hoverboard. But here's the kicker. Her old teammate Sheryl Swoopes, let's just say her praise came with more shade than a solar eclipse. Is this WNBA appreciation or a petty soap opera in sneakers? Stick around as we unpack the drama, sip the piping hot tea, and see why Cooper's classy moment might just be Swoopes' biggest foul.
Clark. So we all know these WNBA veterans, for the most part, has not been very welcoming, besides your Sue Birds, your Cheryl Millers, and a few others. But when it comes to Sheryl Swoopes and them, oh, they're some serial haters, bruh. Now, Lisa Leslie, she been all right, but she criticized the time too. But with all that being said, Cynthia Cooper made it her business to big up Caitlin Clark.
Oh, look who just entered the chat with some actual grace. Cynthia Cooper, the basketball legend, the original bucket getter, the woman who basically carried the early WNBA on her back like a backpack full of trophies. And what did she do? She praised Caitlin Clark like a pro. Not just some vague, she's all right, but actual, thoughtful, intelligent praise. Imagine that, someone seeing generational talent and responding with admiration instead of whatever foghorn noise Sheryl Swoopes keeps making every time someone says Caitlin.
So this is Cynthia Cooper. This is one of the greatest WNBA players of all time. Again, somebody that is a absolute legend in their own.
Have you guys ever heard of Cynthia Cooper Dyke? Some consider her to be the Michael Jordan of the WNBA. She is a legend in women's basketball.
Now let's unpack this circus, shall we? Cynthia Cooper watches Caitlin Clark do her thing and goes, yep, this girl's special. Because she is. We're talking about a rookie with the vision of Sue Bird, the range of Steph Curry, and the composure of a 10-year veteran trapped in a 22-year-old's body. Cooper sees that and goes, this is great for the sport. Meanwhile, Sheryl Swoopes is somewhere in the corner calculating math that doesn't even exist, trying to discredit Clark's scoring records like she's doing her own WNBA version of Common Core.
Other than Cynthia Cooper. Cynthia Cooper was sitting court and she had a lot to say about a certain somebody named Caitlin Clark.
Remember the time Swoopes said Caitlin Clark wasn't really the all-time NCAA scoring leader because she got an extra year? Ah, yes. That magical fifth year Clark never used, because apparently if you break records and your name isn't Angel Reese, Cheryl's going to need a full-blown forensic audit. She was basically implying Caitlin got her numbers by playing with cheat codes. Meanwhile, Reese could go 2 for 11 with 6 turnovers and a foul for every limb, and Swoopes would be clapping like she just saw the Mona Lisa paint herself.
If we say her stats are today, what?
20 points, 8.4 assists, 6 rebounds.
That's crazy.
But 5
That's crazy.
5
Is that
dominant? 5.6
those are
turnovers
hell of a
too.
number.
Those are hell of a numbers.
But to me, that's not dominating.
Yeah, it's only not dominating because she's a rookie. Now, if she's putting up numbers like Asia right now, would she be dominating?
Yes.
So it's about
And let's not forget that Cheryl's analysis isn't just biased, it's loudly biased. While everyone else is watching Caitlin light up the court with highlight reel assists and logo threes, Swoopes is on her own personal anti-Caitlin TED Talk tour, acting like she's breaking national security protocols by not acknowledging the obvious. Caitlin Clark is the moment.
But despite the attendance and viewership records, there seems to be some haterade in the league in regards to Clark starting with WNBA legend Sheryl Swoopes herself.
Meanwhile, Angel Reese, the one Sheryl loves to ride for, has just been moved out of her usual position. Why? Because the Sky would like to score some points and maybe even win some games. Imagine that. When Angel was snatching rebounds like a claw machine in college, everyone screamed elite. Now that she's in a professional offense that doesn't reward missed layups and chasing bricks, the stat sheet is starting to look less than historic. And let's talk about ticket sales, because nothing screams impact like cold, hard numbers. The WNBA released its early figures, and surprise, surprise, Caitlin Clark isn't just selling tickets, she's selling leagues. She's outdrawing NBA games in some markets. Meanwhile, Angel Reese can't even give tickets away with a side of popcorn and a Drake meet and greet. But sure, let's pretend she's the one bringing all the eyes. And remember last year when Angel gave her Best Academy Award acceptance speech about how Caitlin ain't the only one bringing eyes to the game? Yeah, cue the awkward silence this year when someone asked her the same thing and she just stared at the floor like the question personally insulted her mama. No answer, nothing, crickets in surround sound.
And I heard you gave me my flowers. Oh, I'm gonna cry. I got a little emotional. So I'm also gonna return this to you. One, because you deserve it.
Thank you.
As a Black woman, to watch you walk in your truth, regardless of what everybody says, how they feel. Perfect name for this podcast. I love how you just keep proving.
Angel Reese, 170,000. Her games continuously get the lowest viewed rating.
The reason why we watching women's basketball is not just because of one person, it's because of me too, and I want y'all to realize that.
How funny is this clip will go down in infamy. It will go down in history, right? Until she starts drawing the big numbers, this will always be the clip that gets used as in, oh, you really thought you were something.
Meanwhile, Caitlin Clark is putting up WNBA rookie numbers that make people double-check if they're reading NBA stat lines, breaking records left and right, doing interviews with class, and somehow still getting treated like she snuck into the league through the back door. It's like everyone's so busy trying to protect their era that they forgot the goal was to grow the sport, not gatekeep it like a neighborhood HOA president on a power trip. So Cynthia Cooper stepping up to say, hey, maybe let's stop acting like Caitlin's greatness is a crime, is a refreshing change. It's that rare moment when someone legendary actually acts like a legend by lifting others up. Because real greatness doesn't feel threatened. It recognizes its successors and cheers them on. Sheryl Swoopes, on the other hand, is still out here pouting in the media like someone stole her lunch. She keeps acting like giving Caitlin credit would make her own legacy disappear. But here's the truth. You can praise a rising star without erasing the past. In fact, the only thing making Swoops look small right now is Swoops.
She out here balling. They don't want to say that. Yeah, they don't want to give it to her. I'm telling you, Caitlin Clark is the absolute truth. From every time. From all around basketball. Yeah. You can see her creating for others. Yes. You can see her shooting her shot. Yes. You can see her getting to the free throw. Yes. And make everybody else better.
It's like watching two people look at the same diamond. Cynthia says, wow, what a brilliant cut. Sheryl goes, well, actually, it's probably cubic zirconia because I don't recognize the jeweler. Girl, please. Meanwhile, Caitlin's not just changing the game, she's redefining what it means to be a star in the WNBA. More TV deals, more butts in seats, and more kids wearing Indiana Fever jerseys. If that's not growth, I don't know what is. And yet we still have to pretend like we're in some courtroom trial every time her name comes up. Objection, Your Honor. She's too good. And let's not forget the fact that Caitlin doesn't even bite back. She doesn't clap back at the shade. Doesn't call out the double standards. She just drops 30 and keeps it moving. That's what kills them. She's classy while being dominant. Meanwhile, Angel's working overtime on Instagram likes while her team is adjusting the offense just so she doesn't trip over her own hype. Let's call it what it is. Angel's rise was built off the drama with Caitlin, period. If that handshake snub had never happened, she'd still be putting up double-doubles in obscurity while TikTok tries to make Bayou Barbie a thing. She didn't elevate the game. She elevated her brand. Caitlin, on the other hand, elevated everyone else's game. She's the tide lifting all boats, and it's about time people started acknowledging it.
Cynthia Cooper. Oh boy, I think she may have made Sheryl Swoopes a little bit salty. I can see that.
She averaged 31.6, 7.4 rebounds, 9 assists, right? Did anyone expect her to do that in WNBA?
Those three? No.
Right? So she didn't do that.
No.
Now, if we say her stats are today, what?
20 points, 8.4 assists, 6 rebounds.
That's crazy.
But
That's crazy.
5.6
Those are hell of a number.
Those are hell of a numbers.
But to me, that's not.
So here's a message to Sheryl Swoopes. If Cynthia Cooper can praise Caitlin Clark without sacrificing a single ounce of her own greatness, So can you. Or don't. But don't expect anyone to take your opinions seriously when they come with more salt than a McDonald's fry station. And to Caitlyn, keep breaking records, keep staying silent when they throw shade, and keep being the player who doesn't need to scream she's the best because her game already does all the talking. Now, someone hand Sheryl a stat sheet and a glass of humble juice. She's overdue. Because let's be honest, if stats could talk, they'd be giving Caitlin Clark a standing ovation while slowly side-eyeing Sheryl Swoopes. Like, ma'am, are you even reading us or are you just freestyling at this point? The numbers aren't subtle. Caitlyn's got more assists, more points, more viewership, and more impact than half the league combined. And still, Swoops is out here acting like Caitlyn's somehow renting space in the WNBA instead of owning the damn zip code.
Cynthia Cooper won 4 straight WNBA championships. Some people call her the GOAT. She's a 2-time national champion winner. Now, Cynthia Cooper should be on Mount Rushmore, bro. When it comes to ballers and GOATs of the game, it gotta be Cynthia. 4 straight, bro. 4 straight. And that's all I'm gonna say. Now, she went on All the Smoke podcast, chopped it up with Steven Jackson and Matt Barnes about Caitlin Clark.
Meanwhile, every time Angel Reese breathes, Swoops practically throws her a parade. It's gotten so predictable, you could turn it into a drinking game. Take a shot every time Sheryl praises Reese's effort after a 3 for 12 shooting night. Take 2 if she blames the refs. Finish the bottle if she manages to spin Angel fouling out of a game as a leadership moment. If nothing else, the woman is committed to her delusion. And yet, Angel's numbers are sliding faster than a toddler on a wet slide. Rebounds down, minutes getting chopped, offensive positioning changing like she's being auditioned for a new role she didn't ask for. Even Chicago Sky fans are whispering, this wasn't what we signed up for. She's turning into that expensive designer bag you buy, only to realize it doesn't match anything in your closet and holds less than your $10 0-cent tote. But don't worry, Caitlin Clark is still public enemy number 1 in the minds of bitter legends and salty Twitter accounts. Because nothing gets people riled up quite like a white girl from Iowa dropping dimes and draining threes like she's playing a video game on rookie mode. And the worst part? She does it without drama. No flexing, no yelling, no unnecessary antics. Just pure surgical basketball.
Who, like Bree Hall, why wasn't she in that game per se? If you're still trying to figure out who's going to make the team, who you're going to cut.
Maybe that's what bugs Sheryl so much. Caitlyn's greatness doesn't need a spectacle. She doesn't need to stomp, scream, or go viral for taunting. Her game is the show. It's clean, it's ruthless, and it's happening in real time whether you approve or not. Cynthia Cooper, bless her glorious 4-championship soul, saw that. She didn't shrink back, didn't try to downplay it, didn't need to reroute the conversation to make it about someone else. She just said the quiet part out loud. Caitlin Clark is the real deal. And what a concept. Acknowledging greatness without trying to rewrite your own history. It's almost like legends are allowed to coexist without turning it into a jealousy-fueled Hunger Games. And let's not ignore how Cynthia Cooper's praise immediately highlighted what everyone's been thinking for months. Sheryl Swoopes could have also taken the high road, could have been the bigger person, could have shared the spotlight, even just for a second, but no. She doubled down on the Reese hype train, even as the train's leaking oil, and stuck at a red light. And for what? Pride? Ego? A deeply committed dislike of Caitlyn's fan base?
I can see the salt. I can see the sweat beads coming out of Sheryl Swoopes' forehead right now, while her former teammate, who won 4 WNBA championships with her. 4. And she's getting on here and she's telling the world, Caitlin Clark is the truth. I'm learning stuff sitting on the sidelines watching Caitlin.
You can't say you care about the growth of women's basketball and then actively work to undermine the one player who's responsible for the sport's biggest boon in decades. The WNBA is trending. TV deals are expanding. Jerseys are flying off shelves. Arenas are selling out. And what's the common denominator? It starts with a C and ends with Caitlin Clark. But sure, let's pretend Angel Reese brought all that in with a rebound and a post-game eyebrow raise. And while we're here, can we also address how Caitlyn's been handling all this with the kind of poise that makes politicians look sloppy? No clapbacks, no petty subtweets, no long-winded rants on podcasts. Just game after game of elite play and humble interviews. Meanwhile, the folks throwing shade at her sound like they're about to cry into their championship rings. In a world where everyone's rushing to pick sides like it's a WWE storyline, Caitlyn's just playing basketball at a historic level for record-setting audiences, and instead of celebrating that, some people are still acting like giving her flowers will make their own legacy wilt.
Yes.
One word to describe Caitlin Clark.
Amazing.
Yes.
A beast. She is the truth. And I mean, she's the truth, and she was a rookie. Right?
Yeah.
Knock down the three-pointer, get to the rim. She can get to the free throw line. She's crafty.
Yeah, very crafty.
Crafty. So sometimes she's look like she's coming off for a three-point shot and she backdoors you for a lay.
Newsflash, it won't. In fact, withholding credit just makes you look bitter. That's why Cynthia Cooper's words cut through the noise like a clean jump shot. She didn't just praise Caitlyn, she exposed the petty bitterness hiding behind the refusal to do the same. But oh no, not Sheryl. She's out here acting like Caitlin Clark is some fluke who wandered into the league by accident, like she tripped over a three-point line and landed in a Nike deal, as if ESPN, Nike, Gatorade, and half the known universe are just propping her up for funsies. Meanwhile, she's torching defenses, dropping dimes with military precision, and casually pulling up from the logo like it's a layup line. And still, Swoops would rather inflate Angel Reese's resume like a used car salesman pushing a lemon. Angel's highlight reel this season? A few hard fouls, some shaky layups, and more screen time on Instagram than ESPN. But according to Swoops, that's apparently enough to bypass someone literally rewriting WNBA history in real time. The logic is so flawed it could trip over itself and still finish behind Caitlyn in the MVP race.
See, obviously, look, Cynthia Cooper is not out here badmouthing Sheryl Swoopes. She's not done like a Nancy Lieberman and Stephen A. Smith, and supposedly, like, Sheryl Swoopes is going in on them on Twitter Spaces. Like, it is. Like, the worst part is, like, the only person who can stop the Sheryl Swoopes thing is Sheryl Swoopes. But it does show, like, you can't be a basketball fan and not enjoy watching Caitlyn.
Cynthia Cooper didn't just give praise, she issued a masterclass in humility and leadership. She saw the shift, recognized the moment, and handed over the mic without a trace of resentment. That's how legends do it. Meanwhile, Cheryl's still backstage, clutching the mic like it owes her rent, and whispering sweet nothings about a one-rebound dynasty. So let's all take a note from Cooper. Real legends don't throw shade, they throw support. Real greatness doesn't get threatened by the next wave. It builds bridges. And real fans, they know the difference between hype and history. And right now, Caitlin Clark is history in the making. Too bad not everyone's evolved enough to see it.